So welcome to anyone that is new. We will go through a few housekeeping and outline methods first before we start. So we'll just do an acknowledgement of country. 30 Foot Drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, their cultures and beliefs, to both elders past and present. Okay, 30 Foot Drop funding. 30 Foot Drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities Disability Services for funding this and many other initiatives. Without their support, so many projects such as Two Wise Monkeys wouldn't see the light of day and we'd be much more poor for it as a community. This workshop is part of a Realities and Advantages Access and Inclusion grant awarded to 30 Foot Drop as part of an Information, Linkages and Capacity Building grant for 2018 and 2019. So welcome. Housekeeping. Unfortunately, we don't have all the resources to monitor all of the live streaming. So if you do want to ask any questions or have any, if you want to interact with us in any way, please head over to our website, which is just below this video at www.30footdrop.com.au/live. If you go into the live session box at the top, hit that and you can jump into the chat box and send any questions that you might have. We'll be covering a lot of information in a short period of time, so we ask participants to try and make sure that there's minimal distractions around you. So grab a pen and paper, grab yourself something to eat, a coffee, all that you need so that all the information can be taken in. Please make sure as well, if you share any of our information on social media, could you please tag us in anything shared? And if you know anyone that may benefit from some of our webinars, please let them know about it. There's 6 webinars that we run and they're all on different events and marketing and untapped markets of the impairment and disability community. We'll be recording the session, so if you wanted to go over anything that you've missed or you wanted to go back on the notes, then it's all recorded. You just have to wait until I've finished and then you should be able to rewind it and stop and start and watch whatever you need to again. And all the research and things that I'll be talking about is all available on the website as well, but in more detail. So if you wanted more details about anything, head over to the website, which is below the video. Lots more information on there in our library. So at the end of the webinar, we will also have a short survey. We'd love it if you guys could fill that out. It's only about 5 or 6 questions on how well we're going, what you thought of the webinar, and yeah, it's really good to give feedback to us and so we can pass it on and learn from it. What else have we got? If you want to share anything and look at that, there's also other platforms, not just this one, where you can watch this. So you can look at Facebook, YouTube, and then also our website and what's the other one, Vimeo libraries. Okay, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa and I am Hear No Evil. And I am one of the monkeys that joins Ben, who is See No Evil. So just by looking at me, you probably can't tell what I suffer from. I'm Hear No Evil, and just my impairment is more of a hidden one. My story is definitely a more hidden one. At age 8, I was diagnosed with mild dyslexia. Teachers used to hit me on the head, read out my low marks, and yell at me in front of my classmates. Why don't you understand? What's wrong with you? Making me feel completely dumb and unworthy, as it would. But despite these challenges growing up, it just made me more determined to succeed and prove these teachers wrong. I have multiple diplomas in the arts field, and I have one in counselling, and at present I have my own photography business, Lisa Hall Creative. And as a girl, for a girl back 30 years ago when I was diagnosed, it was a lot harder for teachers or even parents to pick up that girls had dyslexia. It was more common in boys. So that again impacted me, and I was probably a little bit forgotten for a while. But everyone has their own passion, everyone has something that they're going to be good at. And luckily, I found mine. It wasn't until I was 13 where I was drawing in an art class, a still life, and the teacher stopped and held my picture up and said, "Oh wow, everyone, like, this is how you meant to do it, and this is really good." And I thought, is she really talking to me? Am I actually good at something? And it turned out that I was okay at it. So I followed that passion, and art and photography and anything creative is really what got me through school. So if you have any children, or you know anyone out there that may have dyslexia or some kind of learning disability, there will be something that they will be good at. It's just a matter of finding that, and once they find it, just build up on that confidence that they are good at that, and to keep going at it, because it took me all around the world. I didn't need to be an amazing mathematician or be amazing at spelling to do art and to sell art and to have exhibitions and do marketing. It just all flowed in together, and I ended up doing well with it. So yeah, that's my story. Now Ben's story is a different story to mine. You will see him again tomorrow night, but I will let him share with you his story. But he is see no evil. Now, isn't there supposed to be 3 wise monkeys? Who is speak no evil? You guys take a little guess at that. Yep, it's you. The aim of today's workshop is to turn you into a wise monkey, and for you to walk away speaking no evil about impairment. Because we're all human and deserve to be treated the same way as anyone else, no matter what the impairment or disability is. We all should be treated equally. Okay. Outline and method. So how are we going to get you started on the path of the wise monkey today? Well, there's a lot to learn about people with an impairment and their potential impact on your business and service. First up, we're going to look at the most recent Australian research so that you can understand the size of the accessible tourism market in WA. This is an exciting market to learn about, especially if you're watching today. This market has definitely been forgotten, unfortunately, so let's have a look at this lost market, and please, along the way, ask yourself, is your business meeting the needs of the disability and impairment tourism market? After this, we'll then be breaking it down into segments and examine the characteristics and habits of this market. To finish up, we'll do an open forum chat session, but along the way, if you do have any questions, feel free to head over to www.30footdrop.com.au/live and head into the chat box and ask any questions that you might have along the way. So what will our teaching method be? The answer is fun, open and honest discussion. This kind of message is not going to get out there unless we start being honest about how we feel about it, and to get that message out there is so important so that the world can be a better place and we're all included. And if you do have any questions, it doesn't have to be about what I'm talking about now. It can be anything you like, or if there's anything you want to tell me. You'll notice that there's very little written content on these slides, and that's because we're all here to interact with each other. But it also makes it easy for people to understand. So if you have a learning disability or vision or hearing impairment, we feel that this way that this is displayed makes it nice and clear for lots of different types of people that want to watch it. There's not too much information displayed there where you're trying to keep up with reading all the information. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's go through terminology and review. So this is all about reducing confusion, because a lot of the time people think disability and impairment are the same thing, which in fact they're not. So let's go through the difference of disability and impairment. An impairment is an injury, illness, or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause a loss or difference of physiological and psychological function. In short, your impairment is your medical diagnosis. So, my impairment is that I have mild dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is a loss of limitation or of opportunities to take part in society on an equal level due to others. An equal level as others on a social and environmental level. Let me start that again. A disability, on the other hand, is a loss or limitation of opportunities to take part in society on an equal level with others due to social and environmental barriers. That's what I meant. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. So, for someone that has a mobility issue, stairs, this person can't use stairs, so they are unable to use that product or service. Something that makes you unable to participate and go to that service or event. So, an example for me, someone with dyslexia, too much wording or stylized script can make it hard for people with dyslexia to understand, which makes it hard for them to get the right information that they need to use your service. So it's important information to be aware of, because you could have this amazing website with complex information, too much information, or big words that only certain people may know or understand what the real meaning of them are. Your website needs to be easy to understand for everyone on every level. So hopefully this makes sense to everyone. Next up is the difference between access and inclusion. Access refers to the removal or reduction of physical barriers to participate in the activities and functions of a community. At its core, access focuses a lot on the physical world around us and can be assessed with a checklist. Inclusion is more of a psychological state of being, and is a process whereby every person, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, religion, sexual preference, or nationality, who wishes to, can participate fully in all aspects of an activity or service in the same way as everyone else in the community. So hopefully those terminologies make sense to you guys. If you have anything you want to ask or anything you want to say, please head over to the chat box. Right, let's get into it. So, Southwest Tourism Stats Overview. The following stats have been taken from the Southwest 2017 Visitors Fact Sheet, as well as the contribution of tourism and Western Australia's tourism regions produced by Tourism WA. Both stats information is found in our resource library. So if you head over to our website, we have a resource library. So everything that we talk about is all in the resource library. So if you want to look at the stats or look at more information, it's all in there for you to read. During the 3 years from 2014 till 2016, our region had an average of 2.49 million overnight visitors, a lot. And this doesn't even include day trippers. Every visitor stayed on average 3.6 nights. The direct and indirect contribution to the Southwest region in 2016 and 17 was 14%. Tourism accounts for almost 1 in 5 people being employed in this region. Huge numbers there, and are we potentially missing out on some of this? The following stats have come from a report called the Accessible Tourism Victoria and Queensland, done by Tourism Research Australia in conjunction with each state tourism departments. Unfortunately, no research has been released that focuses on WA alone, but this report also focuses on Australia as a whole. It also looks at the domestic market, so these numbers are likely to be higher when international visitors are included. Due to the similarities, though, between the Southwest tourism market and those of New South Wales and Queensland, we've extracted the findings to calculate the following information. This study estimates that the size of the accessible tourism market for overnight or day trips is 7%, 1.3 million people Australia-wide, equating to 150,000 people in WA alone. The thing that with this 7% is most of us really holiday alone, with an average party size of 2.45 for overnight travel and 2.62 for day trips, bringing this figure now to 17%, which is 390,000 people of WA's population requiring accessible tourism experiences and services. So that is huge numbers. So if you're a business owner or you know someone with a business, ask yourself or ask them, is your business accessible to this percentage of people? The estimated annual expenditure for this segment comes to approximately 8 billion Australia-wide, which equates to 916 million WA-wide and 163 million here in the southwest. Now that's a lot of potential business for you guys. So definitely those figures something to think about, and you may have had no idea that there's so many people out there wanting to travel, but it's all up to you as a business to make sure that your business is inclusive and accessible for people with disability and impairments, and how you do that is up to you. Okay, the unserved market. This report noted that there is a segment of Australians with an impairment, including adults caring for children with an impairment, who are not currently travelling, which is really sad, but would love to travel with certain industry improvements in accommodation, transport, and current technologies. In WA, this segment estimated that 34,000 people, which is approximately 225 million WA-wide, it's just a huge market, that 225 million that aren't travelling because of the access and inclusion. This represents a large boost when you consider the current size of 163 million. So let's understand this market. So we know that there is a market segment of people with impairment that can be tapped into by tourism and event businesses. Let's now have a look at their needs so that you can better understand how we can serve them best. Although people with impairment generally have lower incomes than the average population as a whole, they should not be considered as low income. So that's just meaning take into account that these people do want to come to your business, they do have money to spend. That's not the reason why they're not coming to your business, and that's what we're trying to say today, is that it's more to do with the access of your business and the inclusion of your business. More than 1/4 of those who identified as having an impairment or disability were in the top 2 income categories, which means they have a disposable income of $900 per week. Interesting. In the Accessible Tourism Survey, they found that approximately 55% of the segment had a mobility issue. This included people who use mobility devices and those who have difficulty moving more than a short distance. Of those in the segment that do not travel, 23% was because it was just too stressful, and the other 22% was because it was just too hard. So once again, it just shows it's not because they don't want to be there, it's because it's too stressful trying to figure out whether they can actually get into your business, and knowing that you've got everything that they need. I mean, you could have it on your website that you've got everything, but would you trust just the website if you have lots of gear that you need to bring down, or things like that you need to get around? You need to know for sure that that business or that service has what you need before you go. Like most Australian people in this segment, people travel for leisure, but it was noted that visits to friends and relatives is often preferred because they know the layout of the accommodation, which helped with planning and resulted in a less stressful trip. I mean, let's face it, who wants to go on holiday and be stressed out? That's not a holiday. I definitely don't want to be stressed out on my holiday. Okay, understanding the market. Now, this is the last segment, and this is quite a short webinar. So, sorry if you were expecting a bit longer. This is one of our shorter ones. Travellers with an impairment share many characteristics with the broader population. The tools used in this decision making were the same as the wider population, with internet search coming in first and word of mouth coming in second. Reconnection and unwinding are core needs for all Australian travellers, and it is just as true for people with disability or impairment. Approximately 40% of travellers with an impairment sought to meet those needs through either more active, more emotionally or intellectually stimulating experience, just like the rest of us. So that stat just highlights to us that we all just want to travel, we all just want to do the same thing and feel included in your business and service, no matter what we have. Although travellers with an impairment do slightly fewer activities, many of the experiences they participated in match those of the broader population, doing things like going out for dinner, visiting the beach, nature and cultural experiences, going to the movies. Everyone wants to do the same thing. Everyone wants to enjoy life and do everything else that everyone else is doing. It's just making that happen, which becomes a barrier for people with limited mobility or impairments. Overall, they tend to stay in the same types of accommodation and visits to the same destination as well. And these visitors, 14% of these visitors were over 65. So lots of people think that, it's all the older people that need all these things, but no, only 14% of the people in that segment or research was 14%. So it's not a lot more people out there with disability and impairment need those services, just as much as the old people. So this just shows that there's a lot of people out there who are needing your business. There are many families and people who I'm sure would love to come and visit your business if it was made accessible and inclusive, and if you showed more understanding by if they contacted you, you can have someone that can direct them and someone that can talk to them about all the accessible avenues and everything they need to know about coming to use your service. Where are the accessible toilets? Where do we park? Is there an accessible beach? Is there accessible restaurants? There's so many things out there that people with disability impairment need to know before they travel. And sadly, that is why a lot of them don't travel, because they just don't know. And that is why our message today is about you guys putting it out there that you're accessible and telling these people that they can come and see your business and spend their money with you. Such an important message, and there's a lot of great businesses down in the southwest, but the message needs to be out there more, because how often do you see people traveling around with disability impairment? Not as often as we should be. We should be seeing it should just be everywhere. People with disability and impairment deserve exactly what everyone else has. Anyway, I hope that I made sense tonight in tapping in part 5. I hope you enjoyed the Accessible Tourism and Events webinar. Thank you for joining me. But now I would like to invite anyone to jump on and ask any questions that you might have. None are off limits, like I said before. But if you do have to go, feel free to go. But before you go, please jump onto the website and click that survey. Do the survey for us, because we really need the feedback. It's important. So I will hit the question button. So I'll disappear for 5 minutes, so I'll be back at 6:30, and I will answer any questions if there are any tonight. So I look forward to seeing you soon, and if you have to go, I hope you enjoyed our webinar tonight. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Okay, so it appears there are no questions tonight, which is totally cool. I hope you enjoyed tonight, and if you're interested in coming back tomorrow, please join us for webinar sorry, tapping in part 6, which will be on at 11 tomorrow, and I will be doing the morning and Ben will be doing the afternoon. So have a good night, everyone. Look after each other and take care. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Bye.